Patterson. We are at the 13th annual St. Louis Prototype Modelers Meet. I'm doing an outdoor photo shoot. We're going to talk about this table saw. That's absolutely magnificent. This is the best hobby in the world.
What's neat?
What's neat?
What's neat?
What's neat starts now.
Catch the What's Neat podcast every week and full episodes of What's Neat every month at the Model Railroad Hobbyist YouTube page.
I see teeth. Hey, Austin's here. Hey, Austin.
Yeah, Austin's here.
I think they're...
Shade of teeth.
Oh, Richard. Hey, Richard.
Hello.
We have a cameraman. I wish you were here last week, Richard.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a train running. Check it out.
Very nice.
It's the same train that did not run last week.
Well, I'm going to make sure it runs this week.
Whoa, we have a... Wow, there's a lot of neat stuff going on. Who's the handsome guy on Skype? Ready? Let's do this.
2, 1.
Not yet.
Dang it. Take two.
All right, ready, set. Dan, give us a quick countdown. 3.
3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week in Model Railroading Show is made possible by viewers like you and is proudly supported by Model Railroader Magazine, helping enthusiasts become better modelers for more than 90 years. To learn more, visit trains.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 286 for August 24th, 2024. A lot of 24s there. That's your number for lottery this week. This is going to be a fun show tonight because we've got Mike Buddy over here, sitting right here. Hey, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
On Skype tonight, we have one of my favorites, Tony Cook.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, Tony. He is the editor of Model Railroad News, among many other publications, which we are going to talk about tonight, which is a lot of fun. Yes, I, of course, am Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, and the September video is done. Thank you very much. That's the RPM show. It came out really decent. Sitting next to me, I've got my favorite electrician, Steve Mantilla.
Hello. I'm glad to be in the pencil spot now. How Joshua is.
Yes, be careful.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. And last but not least, we have Daniel Coombs.
Hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Hey, Daniel.
Hi.
And we've got a pencil up here with 2 erasers on it.
I'm safe.
The Tonight Show
For now.
starring Johnny
Yeah, that's it.
Carson. Okay, so you're safe.
I'm safe for right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Take those away.
Let us
So we
continue.
got a lot of neat models on the table tonight. As usual, everything is awesome. I'm going to start right out with layout construction because that's a lot of fun to show the B-rolls of this. All finally got to start working on the layout yesterday after that podcast last week was edited out at 1 hour and 12 minutes. And the What's Neat show for September is an hour and a half of the RPM stuff. There's a lot of neat stuff in that show. So after all those edits yesterday, I got to work on the layout again. And all of the lights over there that we've been discussing for the last month, the Atlas lights, is it Atlas? Yeah. And the Woodland Scenics lights, various types of lights, had to be squared up and glued in place. And Mike, you suggested using silicone.
I figured that would be, at least for the ones right in the front there, which would most likely get knocked over when you were trying to move cars around or whatever.
Those lights got bumped a lot last night, and I was trying to be super careful, but I used silicone. But the coolest thing was I made 3 of these out of wood, and I'm using this one. This is a machinist scale, and I took the point off of it, and I put a brass tube on it, and created this device that would wrap. I put an eyelet on the end of the brass tube and opened the eyelet a little bit, dumped it in that plastic rubber material so that the hole would close up just a little bit, and put this around each single light to square them up
As it dried?
with a bubble, with a level, because levels don't lie. That's perfect squareness, correct?
Yes.
What was really weird was, to my eye, it didn't look square because the topography changes over there in the cement and the asphalt.
Yeah.
But each light is now glued in. They're bright. Everything's good.
They look good.
It's time to put in the blocks on that diorama, probably tomorrow. And then the corner of the layout gets ripped out to start replacing that and double track that through the laundry area, give us a 57-foot double track passing siding, and just completely change that diorama back there. I was going to start that last night and ran out of night. Okay, so rock and roll, that's what's going on with the layout. Now, without further ado, I'm going to go out to Skype here and talk to Tony, because Tony, I just looked at this book. You sent us this HO Collector 2024 annual. And to me, it was memory lane of my childhood.
It's very nice.
Just the brown Tyco boxes with the kits.
Now-
Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Tyco a part of Sears and Roebuck back then, or Sears catalog model train sets way back in the day before they went out of
Tony's
business?
the guy to answer that question. 'Cause I know my first train set that my father bought me was out of that Sears and Roebuck catalog, which was awesome. Tony, what's the answer on that question?
Tyco was not associated with Sears, but did sell to, you'd see Tyco stuff in JCPenney's, Sears, Montgomery Ward, like the Easton's catalogs in Canada. And a lot of times the sets they would have would be similar to a cataloged regular set, but there'd be something different about it for the catalog, the Christmas catalog things. So I get a lot of questions of, well, I had this set, but it doesn't match what I see that year in the Tyco catalog, but I know I got it for Christmas that year. And it's like, well, if it was a Sears or Penney's version of, say, the Spirit of 76 set, there may be something slightly different about it as far as, like what cars were included or the track plan.
Gotcha.
All right, Tony. You got to tell us, for the folks out there that don't know, that doesn't have the pleasure to run into your smiling face at trade shows, exactly how many magazines do you... Tell us about your job description, because I know you've got a great job.
I do have a great job. Like you, Ken, it's a work from home type thing, and I split my time between the Kansas City area and then down in Texas as well. I do Model Railroad News, which is a monthly magazine on new products of all scales in model railroading, with news and then features on reviews as well. I do Diesel Era, which is also from White River Productions, and that's a quarterly. And everybody knows Diesel Era started by Paul Withers back in the early 90s, and it's been a White River production since 2021, I believe. It doesn't seem like I've been doing it that many years, but I start looking, and I've got a pile of them with my name on them now. And then HO Collector I'd been doing since 2017, and we turned that into an annual this year for the first time, and that annual just came out, 116 pages. And then I also... quarterly do a collector contest in Railroad Model Craftsman magazine, which the September edition will have a look at 3 EMDs you might not ever see. And I show that Rock Island TA, the CNIM's RS 1325, and a Missouri Pacific Jeep 28, all brass models of EMD prototypes that have never made it to plastic yet.
This book's amazing.
Well, lots of fun stuff in there.
Oh my God! I don't know where to start. I didn't know Tyco made a Burger King.
The
Mid
Baskin Robbins
80s,
and a couple other
yeah.
stuff, yes.
Baskin Robbins back then?
I think there was a Baskin Robbins ice cream.
I think I got my Tyco train set in 1974. It had to have been that Pacific, Union Pacific, but I think it was a Pacific locomotive. And the caboose, and oh my God, it was just so cool. It was like my power.
I got my Tycos.
It's a starting point for so many. There's so many people in the hobby today, and I'm talking industry side, that will tell me that was their first train set. And it's like, oh, wow, that's very cool. But yeah, Tyco was the start for many folks.
I was just excited to take an egg carton, put it on its side, I took Elmer's glue and paper towels and soaked them and put dirt on it, and I made a mountain that was about 2 inches tall, and I was so proud of that. I mean, okay, I was in 5th grade, but to a 5th grader, to be able to take sawdust and food coloring and all of a sudden have a lawn, and it didn't cost me anything. That's the beauty of that Tyco stuff. It lets you incubate. Does that make any sense?
Exactly.
So be more creative.
Right.
What was one of your favorite parts of doing this book? I know it's a crazy question, but tell me about the pleasure of seeing something like this come to fruition where you can hold it in your hand.
It is a fun thing. I mean, like that one, I did all the photography. The models are all from my collection. I do the computer layout on all of the stuff for White River as well. So that one was really kind of all me, which was kind of a different thing, but worked out that way. I think one of the things I enjoyed, I had bought the Tyco A-Team set, from the NBC TV show, the A-Team. I had bought that a handful of years ago, and it was a JCPenney's version, which you can always tell if you ever see these at a swap meet, if they're in a plain cardboard box and not the typical train set display box. That's the catalog order version, was just put in a generic Tyco box. And I'd had it, and I'd forgotten I had it, and thought it would be fun to go through those movie and TV tie-in train sets that they did in the 1980s. So I enjoyed doing that. And the run of the Pola kits and like the one kits with the Burger King and Pizza Hut were actually, I think, Helgen in Denmark made those. But that's something I'd been asked for a number of times by collectors if I'd like to have a list of all of those and what years they appeared and when were they dropped and did they change. So, and there's so many classics there. Those were ones like Arley Station and the Speedy Andrews Repair Shop, things that you can go back and find in Railroad Model Craftsman as like Craftsman articles in the 60s and early 70s, and then they became regular kits. So it's fun stuff. But that run through all those kits I thought was kind of neat as well. But there's a little something for everybody in there. I reproduced the 1957 Tenshoto brass catalog, which is the early days of Japanese brass in HO scale. I do the Century 415 because Bowser's doing a new model of that. We'll finally have that little center cab Alco as a high-end model, so I cover it in there as well. And then the cover, of course, has that nickel plate Products Rock Island TA set, which was a neat piece. I picked that up from Resource Rails in Chicago, had that one time, and I nabbed it quickly when he puts his list out every Friday morning, and that's usually a dangerous time to be sitting there drinking your coffee and go, oh, I got to have that.
Yeah.
So where in this book is the 57 Tenshoto that you were talking about?
I think it's toward
Is
the back.
it that next train set?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you see their old wooden road track system and those. They had all kinds of neat things.
Wow, I was familiar with Tenshoto as being a brass importer, manufacturer. I had no idea that they did this stuff.
Well, and what's interesting on that, too, that's 57. That's just ahead of, when you think of Tenshoto, I always think of Pacific Fast Mail.
Yes.
Because that's who imported them for the most part. But that is a Tenshoto catalog for the North American market just ahead of the PFM days. So a lot of that ended up being PFM boxed product, but there it is being shown as if Tenshoto was releasing it themselves.
God, I love learning new things. That is so awesome.
There's a lot to learn in that book. Yes, a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of fun stuff. And it right now through the end of August, by the time the show comes out, it'll almost be over, but there's a $30 pre-publication sale on it at shop.whiteriverproductions.com. Its regular price is $34.95, and again, it's 116 pages and is available now. And regular, if your dealer carried HO Collector, they probably would have it too. Like Redboard Hobbies there in Belleville, Illinois, probably has copies of it too. So available all over the place.
You go there all the time.
Yeah, we did. Me and Josh. Yeah.
I went there a lot. What was it when I was building that auto train over there? That was a nice shop. The guy had all kinds of cool stuff in that store.
Does.
Paul carries lots of parts and lots of neat. I mean, he's got the latest new whatevers, but I always like that whole wall of parts that he's got. And he carries like the 125th scale automobile kits and that. Half the
Right.
time I end up walking out of there with, like some old Monte Carlo kit that I had no intention of going in, but
You and me
saw it
both.
and had to have it. Yeah.
Yep.
You know how that is, Mike.
So you go to that store often over there?
My folks live over in the St. Louis
Oh,
area.
well, okay. Look, man, when you're in town, you need to be sitting in one of these
Right here.
chairs. Don't be shy. Everybody else just shows up and walks in the door. That's the way it works around here.
Bingo.
I know. If you're that close, I mean, come on, man. You're part of the family here. We want to learn everything that you're doing this month.
That's always a lot of stuff.
Well, that's good. It's
That's
always
a
good to
lot.
have 12 things going on at one time. Right?
Exactly.
You always got to try to start 18 or 20 things because half of them aren't going to start. But
Oh, jeez. Don't even. No.
I know, right? I'm not changing the subject, but we're going to shift gears real quick here. The deer in the backyard. I'm going to run this video clip. I think it's 45 seconds. Obviously, the Garden Railroad was almost ready to run in time for the RPM meet. And the issue was, of course, the track. Without completed track, it doesn't quite run.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people cared. But I got up at sunrise. Well, I've been working every single night through the week here on projects. And these deer were out there and avoiding stepping on the track. Earlier in the week, they did. I heard a very loud crack out there. But you've got to coexist with these critters. Besides, they're cutting the grass, essentially. They're eating all that tall Johnson grass, which is a blessing. Thank
Well,
you.
that's good.
Yes, right? But I just wanted to share this gorgeous scene here because it's what we do on this show when it has something to do with the Garden Railroad. And as long as we never get that thing built, we can keep talking about not getting it built and keep running clips like this. The great news is that I understand, and I think we might have possibly alluded to this, that Ed Dickens is bringing the big boy to my house. Yes. Yes, it's going to be right back here, 200 feet from the back door down there. And that is going to be really cool. I modeled that area. I've shown you pictures of it. It was really a fun project. It took 9 days just to carve the foam, but it took months to measure everything to get it right. And I never ran the big boy through that part of the layout because it wasn't prototype.
Now it will be.
I know. Hello.
You got a section of it right
Yeah, I
there
know.
behind.
We're all looking at it. Yeah, that's it.
And I'm working on the access trail down there. There's ropes down that cliff. They are in great condition. I went down there the other day. I understand the trees that need to be cut. It's a lot.
Ropes.
Ropes?
Ropes down the cliff. Or are we
Ropes
just going
down the
to,
cliff. No harnesses, no
Yeah.
safety lines.
You need them to get up that steep.
It's a great big barge rope. They literally last 50 years. It's anchored solidly. I checked everything, and it's fun to have access to the backyard once again. Get down there with saws, start clearing it, see the trains from the deck.
I think I'll just walk down the trail to Cliff Cave Park. Thank you very much.
That's too long of a walk with chainsaws, water, gas, all the equipment. Because once you're down there for hours, and then you come back up. It's simple, and it's not straight down. So, yeah. Okay, next subject, because we're getting way off topic on that.
Yeah.
Tony, so what's coming up, and what's the future plans? And tell us, I'm sure you have a digital presence too, don't you?
White River Productions has an app as well, and the way the app is set up, it's almost kind of like a Netflix type thing that you can buy individual magazines. And remember, White River does like Passenger Train Journal, Narrow Gauge Gazette, Rail Pace, Rail Fan, Road Model. There's almost, I think, 10 publications, Trains and Roads of the Past. The way that's set up on the app is you can go in and buy a title that you want, or do like the everything deal. And I had somebody at the St. Louis RPM stop me and say how much they love having that everything deal, because then whether it's a title you regularly read or not, it's available to you on that app as well. So you can go through and look at magazines you don't normally pick up, which I think when it's railroad stuff, we all have a interest in looking at, it's like, oh, I'd take a look at that. So yeah, and that app, you can find that again at White River's website as well.
So tell us about your layout, or what is it that you like to model? Do you like some of the? Do you have a Tyco layout?
No, I have people ask me that a lot. Do I have everything Tyco made?
Right.
Like, no. I don't.
Why
And
not? Because that would be really cool.
I mean, certainly I have a lot of Tyco stuff, but no, I don't have one of everything. And I don't have a layout actually either.
Okay.
That I am a collector. In fact, once you've broken it out of that plastic cradle that it comes in and you're starting to pull the foam pieces away from the handrails and everything, it's like, whoa, 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 slow down there.
Oh my-
Put it back in the box and get
Oh
it back
my
on
God.
the shelf.
Exactly.
no.
See, that's the way most of the time I've been more of a collector with it. When I was young, everybody had a joke that, oh, you need to take it out of the box and play with it. No, you just had it up on the wall in the box and you keep it protected that way. Yes. So you're that one person who has that thing mint in the
And
box.
there's lots of people like that, yeah.
There are.
Mostly a collector. I mean, what I have because of the work-related stuff with Model Railroad News, I've got space set up, but again, from testing O to N to HO and different track systems and DCC, and I've got about 4 or 5 different power packs so I can do the volts and the amps and, change the radius on the curves and how does it do on this or that. So it's an ever-changing, like kind of test board that I work with. So yeah, no layout because it's kind of a laboratory for testing models and things.
So I'm trying to figure out from your point of view. So to you, an amazing situation could be to have the Tony Cook Model Railroad Museum. No? Isn't that not a good idea? If you're a collector, you got all this really cool stuff?
Well, it is, and I live in it, but other than my dog and I, there's not many visitors to the museum. So yeah. But
Okay.
indeed so. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be really cool. Get a grant, build a building, have your own little, that would be your legacy, essentially. You combine it with other collections, and wow, we're off to is there something like that already in this country?
Well, like Independence, Missouri just opened. There's a model railroad museum, and I haven't been over to it yet. But I think Scale Trains has got an event there or something coming up, and that there is something new in Independence, which is over on the east side of Kansas City, and I haven't made it to that yet.
Cool. Shoot some B-roll and let's talk about it on a show when you come here to St. Louis and you hang out with us. You don't have to be pressured to be on the show. You can just come down here and run some trains.
Well, it sounded like chainsaws and having to climb down a rope.
Yeah, you got a little scared too. Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
You got a little hesitant.
What is he talking about?
I was thinking more like, do you have iced tea or Dr. Pepper? And where can I sit down and watch the trains
And the
run? And then
bonfire.
suddenly I'm, catapulting down some rope thing with a chainsaw to clear out trees. Wow, I don't know.
No. I won't even make you mow the grass. But yeah, we do have.
That's,
We literally were thinking about getting a fountain for Dr. Pepper upstairs because that's what the family up there really likes to drink. So yeah, no, the cliff is nothing but it's just, if you have something in front of you, you've got to climb it. You have to. I mean, if it's a rock, a cliff, or whatever, they give it to you, you got to play with it. A hobby of rappelling would be great here. But the great thing is to have access to the tracks, to be able to go down below, see trains. I thought about building a deck down there, but the topography is constantly changing all the time. 4 weeks ago, we had a great deal of rain, and on a future podcast, I'm going to show how the Garden Railroad survived that because I was out in the rain. But there was so much rain in an hour, which only happens here once every 20 years, maybe. The bluff washed out and went right across the top of the tracks. It was 5 feet thick. Wow. Everything just went 35 feet wide.
Yeah.
Amazing sight. And now they're cleaning up the main line down there to bring the big boy through. So they've been cutting 30 feet on either side of the tracks.
Wow.
I knew something was coming through. I figured the president of the railroad was coming through because the last time they cleared the tracks like that, that's when they brought the president through of the railroad. Nope, this time it's even better than that. It's our friend Ed Dickens. All right, so we got a train running tonight, and it is not Tyco. I think it's being pulled by a Scale
Trains
Trains
3-piece turbine.
turbine. Yes, that's the one I think I used to make a video with. Behind it, we've got an array of Rapido boxcars. Just absolutely beautiful. I modeled one of these once back in the 80s. I know how much work it is. And to be able to pull them right out of the box.
All the details there, under rigging, everything.
Yeah, it saves you about a week or two on each car. So what's your time worth? And I think they're beautiful. The rest of it is a mix of, you name it, Intermountain stuff and train miniature stuff and Katie's and AccuRail and just a gambit of stuff that's been in the drawers for the last 30 years around here. I think there's some Intermountain stuff in there too. But it's a fun consist. Right now, I think the era of that train would be about 1962, if I'm correct on that. Mike, what did you bring tonight?
A few things, 3D printed things from the RPM. These first two are from Dan Notley at Yelton Models. He suggested that I sit as if I was driving a car so I could have some of my own figures in HO scale, and then one for the larger scale 1/25th models. So that was kind of a fun project. It was a great idea of him to scan me that way. So I just got those in the mail today. I didn't know.
pretty
what I
cool.
was gonna talk
That's
about.
amazing.
You can cut your own legs off. Remember how we butchered?
Right.
I know, right? Okay, the Bachman ad for the crane. I cut the guys' heads off so that their heads would be looking up at the crane.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, something
Right.
you
It's
So
kind of
now
creepy when you're doing it.
you get
but-
to cut yourself right at the waistline, and if you're sitting more forward, now you're driving a dump truck, right?
Yeah. Well, I should have had my foot out like I was putting it on the gas. I didn't.
Or
think
the
of that,
clutch.
but- Yeah,
Right.
right.
Throw it down.
That's a
But,
great idea.
In the HO scale, I doubt I'll end up probably cutting it off like you said. I doubt if I'd.
Wait a minute, Tony. You've been scanned, right?
Yes, I have.
And you got your little self around there somewhere.
I don't think I've gotten it yet. I was scanned at the RPM, and I don't think I've shown up yet, or I haven't opened the package yet. If it's here, I haven't gotten to it yet.
It's really cool that it's amazing. You get that Vallejo paint, and you can paint. It's amazing what you can do in a scale that small to make yourself look realistic. And you don't have to go far for research. You just got to look in a mirror and realize you're backwards. A lot of people look in the mirror and think they're backwards.
Yeah, a little backwards already.
That's a
So
whole
I mean,
nother
that's
show.
it.
Sometimes.
We've got a beautiful new book from, I'm not going to say Kalmbach.
Train.
Fire Crown, Model Railroader Magazine. Trains.com is a website to go through. And this book is for you, Mike. Not that it's got a
Too many
great,
C's.
not that it's got that wonderful NCE cab
Yeah.
on the cover. But Alan Gartner did a great publication on DCC, Digital Command Control, that for those folks out there that don't know what DCC means, which revolutionized this hobby. And I was a naysayer, just like I was when it came time to go from slides to digital. There was no reason to give up my Tyco Power Pack. The Tech 2 Power Pack, or whatever it was, it worked just great. I got my blocks. I don't need all that fancy stuff. I don't want to run 2 trains at one time. Oh my God, we have all these reasons. I think it was a defense mechanism of some type. But DCC has changed the world, and this book makes it simple as you go through it. It'll show you the setup, the basics of programming. You'll learn how to properly wire your layout, because wiring a layout can be a little bit different than normal as you're running your feeder wires through, and then you're running your DCC lines through, so you can have little panels all the way around the room. This book is great from start to finish. Check it out at trains.com. That's their new store that they've created. I've gone through it. And Bernard Kempsky, am I saying the right name? Bernard Kempsky? He's the gentleman that wrote that book that I was just all excited about modeling the ports, where he modeled that. And there's some videos on YouTube. I don't know how I stumbled into them, but just check out YouTube, maybe type in his name. But he's got video of this port, and it's amazing, and it's all lit up. The guys out there that model, when they really focus, create some really cool stuff, which is inspiring.
So anyway, I never finished talking about my stuff. And these 3D printed trucks are from Dana Stratton, and these I brought these a few weeks ago, and I had them in the package. I just put them together and put the wheels on them so you could see what they look like. And then this one here is 1972 Chevy Crew Cab, which I don't think they ever really made it And I don't think GM made that in production, but I've seen plenty of conversions. So anybody with a modern layout could use one of those. So, and this thing over here is about 40 years old. It's an old model die casting car that I cut the door open and took a photograph of a real car load. And when I got the photograph back, I cut it and put it inside the boxcar so it looked like a loaded car. That you can hardly see it now 'cause it's faded since it's so old, but it looked pretty realistic when I first did it.
Oh,
Looks
I
good.
see. Okay.
I was driving on one of my train cruises one time, and I saw a boxcar in a train with the doors open with the wood exposed, so I took a couple of pictures of it and thought that'd be something to use. So that was an old trick. It's a 40-year-old trick. So you could just do it digitally now.
Probably 3D print the little lumber stacks, and then you stack
Yeah.
them on
It'd
top,
be a
paint
lot
them.
more realistic, yeah. So anyway,
I know, right? 3D
okay,
printing.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Tony, have you explored this 3D printing thing yet?
I thought especially the RPM this year. I mean, we've had 3D stuff at the RPM for many years, but this year especially, I thought I saw so many things, and the quality seems to have
Right.
really continues to move forward to where it's great looking stuff. I mean, there were so many neat things this year. The 3D Central stuff I thought was really neat that Matt Herman had.
Yes.
It's actually, I don't know that it's printed, but that State Tool and Die with the Southern Radio Control Car, did you get to see that at the RPM?
I did. I got one of the kits too.
Yeah, I've got one. I just put it together. It's going to be the cover of November's Model Railroad News. And that, I was really impressed with it because it's painted, it's lettered. As I said to him, wow, this is almost like a shake-a-box kit, and yet it's, not. It's a specialty, kind of craftsman thing. So that's a lot of neat stuff this year that, again, was 3D or 3D printed related.
Wow. There's so much we need to learn about that still. Plus, here's a question I have, and I don't think there's an answer because we don't know the answer yet. Nobody can possibly know unless you've been in the future, but how long does that stuff last? Once you have something printed with that material, remember when plastic first came out, how brittle some of the plastic would be?
Yeah,
When we were
right.
kids, we'd
Or-
break our toys. and-
Stuff would warp.
Right.
The old car models would warp.
And when we got foam, we thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and then we figured out that there was things about foam that changed over time. That's just a question. I'm not trying to be a downer here, but yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be something. I mean, think of like the Zamek castings for underframes and such that
yeah.
Right.
that some of those just kind of disintegrate or will blow up. And
Somebody,
you never know. I mean, there's always odd things to, about any kind of components that go into model railroading stuff that
Right.
we'll see.
Somewhere in the 90s, I don't remember who it was, brought an O-scale Overland 3-piece turbine like what's running around the room right now, and they wanted me to paint it for them, which is no problem. It was going to be bigger and easier. But when I took it apart and I got down to the gearboxes, that white metal gear material literally crumbled. It was like some sort of a soap stone that just crumbled. And it was metal. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, the answer would have been to call Tom Marsh and try to order some parts for it. But at that point, I was still young and I wasn't that experienced. It scared me. And I was like, I don't even want to dive into this project. I just don't, because I can't guarantee the work.
Did you call them and tell them?
Yeah. I gave it back to him.
And did you tell them the pieces there, or did you just
Yeah.
get it back and said,
Yeah.
No, I
No,
just,
here you go.
Yeah, here you go. Everything's all good. Yeah.
It's all good. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, you have a tendency of just taking things apart
Yeah.
right in front of people. I think I have a brass locomotive like that, so
yes, and that all worked out beautifully.
it worked out perfect.
Of course I told him. I'm a very ethical business person. Yes, of course
Exactly.
I told him. I don't know what else to talk about at this point, except for I do know that Steve Mantia brought some beautiful models tonight. And those cars were the cars that Grandpa told me not to play with, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about what you brought.
As usual, these are all Lionel O-scale flat cars. Since we're always having, they don't compare to the the auto loads that you
Right,
have in that. But I think, Daniel, do you have the red one or do you have the blue one that you have out in the parking lot? Viper and that. Do you drive one? Not
I ain't
yet.
too rich for that.
I thought maybe you might
Not
have there.
rich enough.
And then you've got the Plymouth Prowler. Just
Yeah.
a little something different that standpoint to bring.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They bring out the traditional feel. I mean, with this first one, of course, you got Lionel lines,
Right.
which is their own trademark that they've
Yes.
had since, since when they started back in the 20s, early 1900s, so to speak. But I just think it's pretty cool to reminisce, I guess, on older memories of you guys knowing that you saw these as kids and whatever.
Right, that's
Exactly.
the flat car I always wanted as a kid before I got into HO scale.
And it looks like this flat car was in almost every. Of course, being 24, I was never born in the era that these technically were made, quote unquote. But what I'm saying is, I see them in the catalogs or I see them at the train shows. And a couple of the local O-scale hobby shops we still got around. Switch Stand and Rodney's Trains and Toys and stuff like that. And then I'd see a lot of these pre-owned cars. But right now, they're going for some pretty decent cash. Like if you got one to sell it.
Yeah.
I don't know what your take is on it. If you're
Yeah,
selling
now
these
this
or-
one is not as any of the super old ones, but I do know which ones you're talking about. Even the double layer auto loader, Lionel has and that type of thing.
It was
but
like
it's
one of
still-
these cars was in every single train show, whether it was a diesel mixed freight or a steam mixed freight.
You've always got that. Like
It's
we
like a
always talk,
56 Ford or something.
Right.
Yeah.
combine two hobbies, that type of thing.
Yep.
Cars and trains, as you
Yep.
know that Mike is always that. Here.
Always more about the cars than the trains.
Yes,
It's the other
that's
way
it.
around.
Yes.
Right.
Flip it.
Yeah.
Mike, you're going to get that. You know what? I'm going to buy this DCC book for you that we just talked about.
Okay.
I mean, maybe if you just, do you like to read? Or you just
I
look at
used
the
to.
pictures like I do?
Yeah, I used to read.
All right.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since you've read. Okay.
This is a part of the show when I know we're getting towards the end, and I'm like, wow, I'm almost done with the edit. There's nothing else that could pop up that'll make it harder. Daniel, what's the date on that cover with the Santa Fe alligators right there in that building?
November of 1996, I believe.
Check out this photo. I'm going to talk about this building only because I saw it in the computer last night when I was looking up for something else. This was a building that I had from Wathers, and I did the box art. The actual building was this kit that I'm showing you right now. I think it was part of the WARF, the Waterfront series. And it was this building was already built when I received it. It was actually built out of scratch built is what it was, and the windows were cast. Well, then they came out with the kit, and I couldn't wait to dive into it because I had ideas on the kit. Turned out the kit was about 10%, maybe 12% smaller than the actual pre-production model that I photographed, which didn't throw me off because at that point I was going to kit together 4 of these kits or 3 of these kits together, and it was a great big elaborate production. I think I ran it in mainline modeler. But the one interesting thing about it that's bringing me to this is I'm thinking about lighting some of the buildings around here now on the inside. I lit up that Woodland Scenics trailer the other day that's on the layout. It's got paper interior in it. That was cool. I could sit there and watch TV.
Yeah.
But this building had thousands or hundreds of crates in it. And we built the multi-level floors out of it so they could lift out of the building for access and to replace the Christmas tree light bulbs that was lighting it. Remember the clear lights that people throw them away, we'd use them. But this building came out so decent. It was on the Midwest Valley Modelers layout between the switchyard and the city. It was a divider break. The building had to come off for transportation of the layout. But it was all pre-designed that way, the way it was built. And I remember building it. It just came out good. I wanted to share the photographs with everybody because a lot of times we don't do how-tos on this show because it's a talk show. It's hobby shop banter for all intentional purposes.
Right.
But I can certainly show pictures and just give somebody different ideas out there. They're like, wow, check that out. I could do that. And that's the whole point of doing this. Tony, going around the table one more time, you want to tell us anything else at the close here?
You were talking about scratch building,
Yes.
and is the definition of that where I get a kit like that, open the box, scratch my head, and go, I don't know if I can put that together? Is that scratch building?
Exactly.
You've got to build everything in your head first before you can build it for real with your hands.
Maybe
So I
that's
think
it.
that's what
I
it
will work
is.
on that.
And that's probably where the term came from because you're sitting here scratching your head while you're trying to figure out what to do with this piece and match that piece because you're not doing what you're supposed to. You're scratch building. So that's what this is. You're scratching. Oh my God, you just can't. Everything new on this show happens and it just did. Scratch building. Ready? Let's all do it together. We're scratch building. I know. There's such a thing on Wall Street called scratch economics. That's usually on a bad trading day. I know, right? They love to run those photographs. Wall Street, stock market dropped today. And they always show the trader like this. All right,
He may not be worried about stocks. He may be just trying to put together some really intricate kit that we don't see that's in front of him there. So
That's true. Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing, because that's another thing about this hobby. And Joshua and I talked about this last night on the phone. When you're at work, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Once you're starting to work on a project on the layout and you know which direction it's going to go, it's what you think about all the time. In the shower, I mean, just no matter what you're doing during the day, somewhere back there, 10% of your brain is running in the background saying, you know, you're still planning it out. And it's overwhelming for people. I know it is for Josh, which is great, because now it shows me that we're the same. Because I've gone through this for years. Even in grade school, I would sit there with my tablet and I would draw a trestle because I'm planning what I'm going to build.
Tablet in your day in school?
It's paper.
Stone
It was
tablet,
paper.
stone
Oh,
tablet.
this. So this thing with the pencil.
Yes,
Oh,
a stone
man.
tablet that you did it there, and you just carried it around. Yes, that type of thing. You know,
Sorry, when you said tablet, I immediately thought the screen in the
yeah,
hand.
no,
sort of deal.
no, I was
It's all like
I
this.
was properly dating him. Very, you know, that the type of thing of
I get it.
stone tablets and chisels and that. So.
All right, this is where we're going to take our NCE Power Cap, Pro Cap. I always like to do this. And we haven't ever run these before. We should put these What's Neat This Week boxcars on the table.
Put it in the
On the
middle of
layout,
that
run it.
1960 train.
Yeah.
I don't know what era this boxcar. Oh, it says 2024 on it. Okay.
Modern.
Yeah, check those out. You guys can, a lot of people have bought those already, and that's really cool. I want to see these running on layouts around the country. I just think it's awesome. Promote the show and run a train on your layout and take pictures of it and send them to us. Put them on the whatsneat.com or no, What's Neat Facebook page that we've got, right?
Yep.
All right, hit subscribe, hit that bell. We don't do a show next week. That's when I'm supposed to get October's video out, which will be layout construction. Everything else is awesome. Best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it sitting right around me at this table. Let's go run some trains. Man, Tony, thank you for being here tonight.
All right, thumbnail, right?
Yeah, we got to do a thumbnail. I'm going to hold up Tony's book because it's really nice. It's heavy, too.
It's very nice.
Well, no, it's really quality.
It is.
It's
It's
not,
like an
it's not that little
encyclopedia
thin
condensed.
paper like, okay, ready, set. Everybody look at either camera. It doesn't matter because we got a train and smile. And now we have a choice of 2 camera thumbnails. How cool is that? All right, Tony, I'm going to turn off 2 cameras, sound, and other things, but
Man.
you can talk to the guys if you want.
I'm going to take off. Thanks so much for having me, you guys. Good seeing you.
Yeah, thanks for being on, Tony.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks,
Have a
Tony.
good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we have a good screen capture file. Camera 1, rolling for 45 seconds. It's fun that the train worked tonight. And we put up some lights over there so you can see the train.
I saw that. Yeah, you have been busy doing a little bit of everything.
It's these little projects. It's all the little projects that add up. And you're doing 12 at one time, and all of a sudden by sunrise, you've got all this work done, and you feel so good that when you go to sleep, there's no worries. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what the plan is.
Yes.
I was wondering what this is. This works out pretty good. This
Oh, it's a miracle. And I made some out of wood, and they work. Yes.
got to always remember though. Do you want it to be level?